Okay, joined now by Jordan Taylor of Corvette Racing, who's here to tell us about the helmet. He's going to be running in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, a very special helmet. Jordan, thanks for being here. I guess we could just start with, tell me about the genesis of this idea and why you've decided to run this special Dale Earnhardt tribute helmet.
Yeah, I've kind of always wanted to do some sort of tribute helmet. I just never had any, desire or really goal that really, I guess, kind of spoke to me for doing one. And I guess, it's 20 years since Dale Sr. and Dale Jr. drove the Corvette #3 car at Daytona at the Rolex 24 for Corvette Racing. I've now been driving the 3 car the past 2 years, and it's 20-year anniversary since then. So for me, I think the timing works well. It's someone I've obviously looked up to with Dale Sr. and Dale Jr. as well. It's a father-son in racing, and I'm a father-son as well. So it's something that I feel special with, and I feel like looking at Dale Sr.'s past and his history and where he was going, he was doing the Rolex 24 that year and talking with guys in the team. There's still some guys there that worked with him at Daytona that year. And it sounds like the goal was for him to eventually go to Le Mans as well with Corvette at some point in his career. So I felt like it was special to kind of commemorate it and kind of take a part of Dale Sr. to Le Mans as well in the #3 car.
Great. Yeah, that's certainly a great story. I want to get into that and ask you about that history because I've heard the same. But let's talk about the helmet. If you can just hold it up and show it to us and walk us through what you got there.
Yeah, so basically my helmet is based off my dad's helmet. My dad raced as well, and he had a W for Wayne. My brother has an R, and I have a J. So we just have our initial on it. So I have my J and stars on the top. So it's really a basic helmet. But it's original to our family, and kind of everyone knows who is. So I wanted to keep basically my helmet as well, but blend it with Dale Sr. So his was also somewhat basic. His was a gloss black helmet. He had the matte kind of flap on the front, but his logos were very iconic. He always had the red bow tie here, snap on. He had a logo up here as well, but then the good wrench, obviously in the GM Service Plus. More the iconic ones. He did have his autograph on the top, but we went with the GM logo, which he also had there. But it was a lot of work. Obviously, I asked Dale Jr. was the first guy I asked to kind of get permission if he was okay with me using his dad's helmet design and blending it with mine, and he was very cool about it. He wanted to be involved with the design process to kind of get it as accurate as possible, and then the second part was kind of convincing GM to use their older logos. The bow tie has obviously been developed over the years, the GM logo as well. But I think to make it kind of current to Dale Sr. and keeping his look and his iconic helmet, we kind of had to go with the old school look. So it was a big thanks to GM and Dale Jr. for getting those approvals done. And my helmet painter Mike Savage with Savage Designs probably painted the helmet 3 or 4 times to kind of get it how we wanted it. And I think it came out really well. We have the 3 on the back as well, in his font. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out. The few people that I've shown it to so far in person, I've loved it. So I think the people in France will really respond to it well.
Much like you said that 20 years later, that's the only time Dale Earnhardt ran the 3 Corvette, and they're still talking about it. I know Dale Jr. feels the same way about running that race with his dad. And I talked to him a couple of years ago before the Rolex 24 in 2019, and it was in front of that replica #3 Corvette, which I think is like one of the only race/street cars type things that he's kept that he has. How did he respond when he learned you were going to do this, and how much involvement did he have with that helmet?
Yeah, he was obviously the first guy I asked to make sure he was okay with me doing the helmet. And he was super excited. I remember his first text was big excitement. And his big thing is that he wanted to kind of be part of the design process to kind of make sure that it was accurate. All the right logos were being used to be kind of era sensitive and be accurate, which was really cool. I mean, he's a busy guy and has a lot more important things to do. So it was nice that he actually spent the time. And I even texted him during one of the broadcasts, and I think he texted me back during a commercial break to kind of say, yeah, this looks accurate. This looks good. So I really appreciated that. And yeah, I mean, I watched some videos obviously of his interviews of when he did that event with his dad, and I can kind of relate to it as well. Just having a dad as a driver as well, where I did the Rolex 24 with my dad in 2014, and we actually finished second as well together. So um, that was my only chance to drive with my dad. I think that was his only chance to be his dad's teammate.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
kind of at the same event is really cool. And I think, obviously I was a bit young when Dale Sr. was racing, but obviously watching all the old footage and seeing Dale Jr. kind of racing at the same time is really cool to see that they were actually racing against each other. It's something that I didn't get to do as a driver. But yeah, I think it was really special to kind of be a driver's son and kind of talking back and forth a little bit with Dale Jr. about what it's like.
What kind of what's the word I'm looking for? I guess like weight or pressure or privilege like comes with that, because I mean, you're talking about Dale Earnhardt, you're talking about
Yeah.
7-time champion, NASCAR first ballot Hall of Famer, and you're gonna be wearing that in France, and maybe
Yeah.
what some people consider the biggest motor race of the world.
Yeah, he's the intimidator, and like I honestly feel a little bit intimidated to have to wear it, because it is his look, it is who he is. It's what everyone knew when they looked at the TV or a picture, they knew who he was, by his helmet, and he obviously had an open face helmet, so you could see who he was. But I think even if you saw kind of the back quarter of the helmet with just these logos, you knew it was Dale Sr. and the Intimidator. So I feel intimidated to wear it, but at the same time, I'm very proud and honored to kind of take a piece of that history to Le Mans. He wasn't able to, or I'm sure he was going to at some point in his career. So I'm proud to be able to do that. I'm hopefully will represent him well and do him proud. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I know the NASCAR community will love to see it kind of come back. And I know the sports car racing community, especially in France, they're really motorsport driven community over there, and I know they'll love it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. The reception that you expect to get in Le Mans, I'm sure domestically, like a lot of American racing fans, NASCAR fans, like probably don't appreciate how well known he is over there. But there are, like Formula One driver Daniel Ricciardo, I know obviously has 3 because of Earnhardt. I mean, are you expecting that kind of like response when you go over there? People will just sort of be like, "Oh, it's Earnhardt. We know this American racer."
Yeah, like they'll definitely know who he is. My first time there was 2012. I was just a 20-year-old American driver who hadn't really done much in his career. In the first year that I went to Le Mans, like people knew who I was. Like tons of people knew who I was. Had pictures printed out of me from like go-karts, things that I would never see at an American racetrack. So their kind of heritage and lineage to motorsport is really special and really deep there. So not just sports car racing or Formula One, they follow NASCAR, they follow motorsport as a whole. And an icon like a Dale Sr. that really changed the sport as a whole, everyone's going to know about. So I think when they see the helmet, they'll understand, especially when they associate it with the number 3, especially being a Chevrolet and a Corvette, they'll definitely kind of know the whole package.